First story. So I've been with my GF for 8 years. Things have never been perfect. She's 35, I'm 34. When we got together, she said she'd only been with 3 people before me. She always played up the sweet innocent role. But one thing that always got me was she has always had a lot of guy friends. She said she always had problems getting along with girls. There has been a string of problems due to her male friends. But I never thought it was anything serious. Now a couple months ago, I was getting a little suspicious of her because a lack of sex and interest on her end. So I went through her iPad. She usually has her phone glued to her. I was scrolling through only to find videos and pictures of her nude and playing with herself. Now early on in our relationship, she'd send me pictures here and there. So not completely out of the ordinary for her. But I didn't receive a single one of these pictures. And these pictures were very similar to ones she used to send to me. So quickly I airdropped them to my phone to make sure I'd have evidence if she was actually cheating. When I looked up the info on the pictures, a few of them were taken in Snapchat. So made me even more suspicious because we don't message each other on Snapchat. Well, I had the time. Searched through her messages and couldn't find anything that stood out. When I checked her Snapchat, she had a bunch of guys on there that she had been recently messaging and some that she had a big streak going with. So I know she's in daily communication with these guys. But the pictures and videos had been taken a few weeks before. So there's no way to tell who she was sending them to. I took screenshots of all the questionable messages and the people she'd been snapping. I looked through a few other apps to see if there were any dating sites or anything, but no. I checked her internet browser to see if she was using any sites, but nothing. After digging through everything, I put it back and decided what I should do. After thinking it through, I decided I wouldn't bring it up while I was heated. About a month passed because I didn't want to start a fight bringing it up. But it kept digging at me. I kept better eye on how much she was on her phone and seeing if I could tell if she was actually cheating. Till same signals texting first thing in the morning through late into the night. I had to say something. Due to my suspicions of her, I put my head into work and started to work more hours so I could get my head off of things. I get home late one night, and lo and behold, she'd been drinking and comes at me with attitude about my late nights and accuses me of cheating on her. How I've been distant and all of the sudden working more hours. And she bets that I have some whore on the side that I must be fucking. Calmly I said to her, "Oh, funny how you think I'm the one cheating on you. How about we talk about the naked pictures and videos I found on your iPad?" She was shocked for a second, not knowing what to say. Immediately she started denying it. When I told her I have copies of them, so try again. She starts backpedaling, saying that she took those from me, but didn't like the way she looked, so she didn't send them to me. Then she asked how I even found them. I told her I was a little suspicious about how she'd been acting, so I went through her iPad and confirmed my suspicions. She said I'm not doing anything, that those pictures weren't for anyone. She said I took them for myself. And are you ready for this? She said, "You know I don't watch porn. I took them for myself so I could have something to watch when I want to get off." All I said to that was, "Why did you take some of those videos on Snapchat? They must have been for someone because we don't message each other on Snapchat." She just looked at me wide-eyed like, "How did you know?" Her next reaction was instant rage. Mad at me for going through her things and accusing her of cheating, and stormed off. I distanced myself for the night. The next day we talked after we both cooled down. She explained on how those videos were meant for me and nothing was or is going on. I don't believe her, and my gut is telling me there is more going on. There have been other signs, but I'll add that if there is any update. What do you think? Is she cheating? Did she send those pictures and videos to another guy? Yes. I'd really like to get some opinions. Second story. Recap. My WW, 36, had an online affair with her old high school teacher after contacting him by email last year to thank him for helping her when she was young. It turned sexual and they planned to meet at a hotel when I caught them. We have 2 girls, 4 and 7. She called it off immediately and disclosed everything, as far as I can confirm. We've been reading, not just friends. She didn't want to, but I asked her to do it and she agreed. RR has been up and down. She's been wrecked with feelings of worthlessness, depression, and remorse. I've been terrified of losing her and obsessive. She knows I check her phone and emails and such, and that makes her feel trapped. But she understands I need to do that to build trust. She needs someone to talk to about things that aren't that appropriate to talk with me about. Her lingering feelings for AP, I suspect, her bitterness about how our marriage was dull before the affair. And I suspect her anger that I basically give her no space now. I'm off work for the summer. She says she never intended to leave me, and I believe that, or she wouldn't have axed the AP immediately. But the things she says make it sound like she'll leave eventually. It'll never be the same. What's the point of going on? I ruined everything. Today was a rough one because it's the day before the date of their meeting at the hotel. If I hadn't gotten paranoid for the first time in about 8 years and checked her emails, she would be packing a bag now to go fuck another man. So I was laying on my bed this afternoon, which is our code for come comfort me. She tried it first, but it felt cold. I wasn't sure why. She said she feels like she can never make it up to me or something. I made the mistake of telling her some advice I gave a WW here on the forums, that she messed up our relationship and now isn't sure it's worth it. I told this other WW to make it worth it by doing nice things for her husband, because the only way to get past the guilt is to make it up to the partner. I said the same to my wife and prefaced it by saying that this advice shouldn't be coming from me because it makes me seem selfish, but I really think she'll feel better when I do. That seemed to piss her off, and she said that she has a lot going on in her head, and helping me is certainly one of those things. Then she said maybe she isn't the person that we both thought she was. Maybe she's just selfish. She said she felt judged by me when she focuses on herself, and that's fair, I guess. I do resent that about 75% of our time is spent on her issues. Well, maybe 50% lately. Anyway, typing this out has helped a bit. I suppose she does need to talk to someone other than me. I'll see about helping her find a counselor, though I've seen those destroy marriages. I'm so scared of losing my family, but I'm sick of making all my decisions out of fear. P.S. I do wonder how much guilt she feels. She says she's sorry, but it seems reluctant sometimes and is usually prompted by me saying something. If I had to guess, I think she didn't love our marriage that much, which is why the affair started. And now since it's screwed up, she doesn't see the worth in it. Fuck. Third story. I'm really struggling with how everything ended between us. I had a gut feeling something was off when she suddenly started acting strange. Sure enough, she broke up with me, and the very next day, she started a friends with benefits arrangement with a random guy I didn't even know. This was especially shocking, because she always told me she loved me more than anything and dreamed of marrying me. She even promised, in front of her dad, that we would get married and that I would make her happy for her whole life. Just a week after making that promise, she broke up with me, giving flimsy excuses that felt off and didn't make any sense. After the breakup, she blocked me and added this random guy on Instagram. When I confronted her, she claimed he was just commissioning a portrait since she's an artist. I took her at her word and went into total no contact. A week later, she called my best friend and confessed that she wasn't sexually attracted to me and didn't feel turned on when we kissed. My best friend told her she should have communicated that to me, but during their conversation, I found out she had been planning our breakup for 2 months. She had been behaving in a way she thought would make me leave her, but despite everything, I stayed patient and kind. Still, she left me. I also discovered she was on a dating site a week or 2 before our breakup. I'm devastated and can't wrap my head around why she did this. Despite putting my all into the relationship, being loyal, planning dates, buying her flowers, treating her with the utmost care, she left me for a guy she barely knows. The worst part is knowing she's now in a friends with benefits situation with a guy who is also involved with other women, and she's okay with it. Meanwhile, I'm here struggling to move on, suffering from the pain and betrayal, while she's off enjoying her new arrangement. How am I supposed to move on from this? I never cheated, always stayed loyal, and did everything I could to save our relationship. I loved her deeply, planned special moments for her, and treated her the best way I knew how. Yet, a week after promising me marriage in front of her father, she left me for a random guy. I'm at a loss, trying to understand why this happened and how to cope with the overwhelming sense of pain and betrayal. I just needed to vent and get this off my chest. Fourth story. I 35M will try to not be all over the place, but bear with me. I think I really messed up. About 7 months ago, my wife 29F found out some news about herself. She has always had a strained relationship with her mother, Sheila. She grew up being abused in almost every way you can think of. How she turned into the well-rounded person she is today amazes me. Her bio father Tom was never there as well. The news she found out was the man she thought was her bio dad isn't. Not only did she find out that, she found out her actual father lived an hour away. He has no idea about her. She also found out that Tom, who was married to Sheila when they had my wife, is a war hero who fought in Desert Storm, and the reason he stepped out of her life is cause he never recovered from his PTSD. He would sleepwalk and grab weapons and would patrol their house. Any noises or even being startled sends him into a panic. Still to this day. Now this is where I messed up. My wife has not wanted any physical touch, no cuddling, no sex, no long hugs. She's told me multiple times that she's struggling and didn't think it was possible for her mother to hurt her more. It's been 7 months of barely any contact, although she's been assuring me that she loves me and couldn't thank me enough for being patient. Expect I haven't. I don't know why, but I couldn't get the thought that she's cheating out of my head. 'Cause we've never been this long without sex. Besides this, she hasn't changed too much. She'll go to show me a funny video and just hand me her phone. She leaves her phone on the bed when she showers or just leaves it lying around anywhere. The other night, for some reason I couldn't sleep and went through her phone. She does have male friends, but I read nothing inappropriate. Even found out she talks about me often, and even recently told her married male best friend that she didn't know she could love me more with how understanding I've been. These two have been friends since single-digit age. Never been more than friends, and in fact she introduced him to his wife. So I just felt stupid for snooping, and when I put her phone back I accidentally woke her up and ended up telling her what I was doing, and was just scared she was cheating. She didn't get mad. I wished she would have gotten mad. Instead I saw what looked like heartbreak. She told me she'd never cheat, that she would never do anything in her control to ever hurt me, and that she's just struggling mentally. I fully believe her now. I can't believe I would even think she would. The only thing that made me think it was the physical distance. It's been 3 days and things aren't the same. I've never seen her this depressed. She just goes to work, comes home, eats, then sleeps. Besides the day she had therapy, she's been going weekly since she found out. My parents' marriage ended cause my mom cheated and I let my own crap get to me. What can I do or say to fix this? I do not want to lose her. She's the most outstanding and strongest person I've ever met, but I feel like I set her over the edge and she's just a shell of herself. I'm so stupid. I just need to figure out how to fix this. She's been through enough pain. When we got serious, she had me to go her therapy appointment with her where she explained her upbringing and I cried. I thought of her going through what she did kills me, and it kills me more that I added to that hurt. I just want to fix this. I thought my wife could be cheating when she was mentally struggling, and now I think I pushed her away for good. P.S. My wife isn't on Reddit and she has no contact with family, so I guess I'll add some info to better understand her struggles. My wife grew up being beaten, mentally abused, and basically sold to men for money. That started when she was 9. Her mother is in prison for what she did. She found out cause apparently her mother has cancer and confessed this to her in a letter that was sent to a relative. Fifth story. I, 38, have been married to my wife, 32F, for about 3 years, together for 5. She has always been the jealous type, but I have gotten to my breaking point. She in the past has searched through my social media and found message from 10 plus years ago and accuses me of keeping messages from women. She has gone through my search history and accuses me of looking up women and even asking what I was searching for online when she gets ad for women in bikini online. The only thing she holds on to is when I was like 28, 29, I was messaging some thirst traps on Instagram before we even met. I asked one her age and she said 17. I joked, haha, too bad I was going to ask you to go to Cancun, not you're too young, and that was it. Never messaged again. She literally had to dig through 5-6 years of messages, mostly of my friends and I sending stupid shit. This was several years ago and I deleted Facebook that week, as I just didn't want to fight with her any longer. She has accused me of staring or checking out a woman on an airplane that was directly in front of me, like where you can see someone's head only. Another flight she lost it because I was watching Roots where they trace back your genealogy and Julia Roberts was one of the guests. I mean really, if we are walking and a woman, young or old, starts walking in front of us in yoga pants, I'm staring at her ass. Like I can control who starts walking in front of me on a busy street or event. These types of things happen all the time, so much so I have lost count honestly. Today I had my breaking point. We were in the backyard throwing a ball for our dog, and I turned around to pick the ball up that went behind me and kept throwing, thinking nothing of it. Well, she said our neighbor's teenage daughter, 12-14-ish, was apparently back there in a bikini bending over. She said I went wild and kept looking back. I didn't even notice anyone back there. And that I was imagining fucking that ass and it didn't look like a 12-year-old. I don't know who she saw back there. They have a pool, but I wasn't paying attention to who was in their backyard. I lost it. I started yelling and telling her how fucked up it is I have to deal with this, and how sick and twisted it is that she would accuse me of checking out someone that age. I'm just livid. I don't think I can live dealing with this anymore. It's always something and always my fault. When this happens and we fight about it, she tells me she says these things because I don't compliment her body or buy her small gifts frequently. I know I am not the best at communication, but I tell her I love her several times a day and she's beautiful all the time. I buy flowers every 2-3 weeks, so we always have a nice bouquet in the kitchen. We go on date nights every 2-3 weeks. We take several vacations a year and I always book at least one upscale romantic restaurant. I feel like I have done all I can to make this work, but she is not going to change and I can live the rest of my life with this. Wife accuses me of checking out women constantly when I can't even see. Accused me today of checking out a 12-13-year-old neighbor. Sixth story. Let me start out by saying I've dove into so much reading material and videos. I feel like I have to share my own story, as I haven't found many stories like mine. I, 32M, and my partner, 25F, have been together for coming up on 3 years. We met through work and still work together. We have been living together for over a year and had many discussions on marriage and a family. The other day, I came home from work to her as a complete wreck, with a bag packed in the spare room, wanting to talk in the room. She told me she's been cheating on me. She told me who it was, where it happened, why she thinks it happened, how often it happened, 3 times over a few months, same person, and why she wanted to tell me. This came as a complete shock. I knew things weren't great, but I was making attempts to better it, I thought. It mostly became as a great shock because I thought she was so madly in love with me. She later told me she thinks the first time was emotional, desperately seeking approval and attention. The other 2 times to torture herself and prove to herself she was terrible and didn't deserve me. She admitted to receiving a dopamine rush of feeling wanted after the first time. But the other two times she hated it and hated herself and went back because the other party knew how broken she was and didn't care for their judgment. She recognized she needs a lot of therapy and lost her way with faith when it didn't help the initial temptations and completely gave up. She has a very rough past, something I never judged her for, but to be honest, worried me that her wounds and trauma, if not dealt with, would hurt me. She is a woman of faith, or at least trying to be. She always talked to me about it and that she needed it in her life. And it was important to her for me to be a part of it, together, for a future family. I went to church, went through the motions. She would try to talk about these things regarding faith, but me not sure on my beliefs, shut her out. I could make this a very long post, but I'll try to shorten it. She said she told me because she wants to work through this together. Let me be clear, I wouldn't have found out about this without her telling me. She is moving out, regardless. At first she didn't want to but now agrees we need time apart at the minimum. I have now found myself turned to faith. I can't explain the experience to those who haven't, but I've found comfort through scripture to better understand my circumstance and give me a different outlook. I find myself so drawn to the fact that I also want to figure it out with her and build something new with her. I have not forgiven her and I know that will be a journey. This doesn't paint the whole picture, but yeah. Any thoughts? I know it didn't share a lot on what she's saying because I was on my phone and it died, but she hasn't blamed me for what happened. She recognized that she started to build resentment towards me for the things I wasn't doing, but that it was her fault. She built the resentment and didn't directly tell me or just leave. She had convinced herself our relationship was over, so why care? The last time was just under a month ago. And she said she's telling me now and not just leaving because she realized how much she loves me and hasn't been a great partner and wants it to work. She said she knows how much knowing would break me, but that if she didn't tell me, we wouldn't have had a shot at a real future together. She said she knew as it was a low possibility I would want to, but that she would do anything in this world to give us another shot and start new. She knows she needs therapy and admitted to pushing down her trauma and problems under the mask of our healthy relationship. When she realized the relationship didn't curb the trauma, she didn't know how to tell me because of how long we were together and said she tried to express needs, some on unreasonable like engagement, some not like basic communication. I'm not the best at that, and when I didn't met them, she started to build resentment. But she knew it wasn't on me, and that's her immaturity. What now? 7th story. I checked my wife's phone and found out she cheated on me. Should I confront her? Should I tell her how I found out? Oh boy, I never thought I'd be writing a post like this. Take a seat because this might be a long one. I met my wife 10 years ago. We were both in university and met through Tinder. After university, 3 years together, I had a rough time and cheated on her several times. No excuses here. That's all my fault. I told her it was really tough for both of us and we decided to stay together. 5 years ago, 5 years together, we decided to move to another country. We managed to find a place for ourselves and made some really nice friends. We are open-minded, so once a year, in a specific party, we would kiss other people. We are both bisexual, so we could kiss whoever we want. We never made an agreement or anything for that, but we didn't see that as cheating since we were both together in the party. Everything was smooth until 10 days ago. My wife traveled back to the country where we were born for a wedding. In this wedding, she kissed a guy and a girl and told me the following day. She said she didn't consider that cheating, since that's basically the same as we did in the party mentioned above, and we had an open relationship. I told her I disagreed because we only did that when we were together, so that's cheating for me. She said she didn't have the Instagram profile or anything from them, so that was a one-time thing. Things were left in this void, to put it like this. Now it starts to get tricky. She left her old cell phone at home, which had her Instagram and her Uber account logged in. I had a feeling there was something more to it, so I used it to take a look at her Instagram messages. There were messages exchanged between her and the guy she kissed at the wedding. They were not following each other, and I guess she forgot about the old phone, or didn't think I'd check. Which is why she said I could look for him at her Instagram, from my profile, and wouldn't find anything. That was strike one on the lying combo. I didn't tell her anything, just went along as if I didn't know anything. In the messages they exchanged WhatsApp numbers. Yesterday she went out with some friends before coming back to where we live now. I was aware and was fine with it. I just asked her to tell me if something else happened kissing someone. This morning I woke up with that same something's up feeling. I went back to her old phone and found nothing in her Instagram messages, which was expected since she had exchanged numbers with the guy from the wedding. I decided to also check her Uber rides. There was one ride to a bar, one other ride to an unknown address, and a final ride from the unknown address to where she's staying. She was in the unknown place for 90 minutes. It was really odd. As Brad Pitt would say, we have a word for that kind of odd in English. It's called suspicious. Of course I looked up the unknown address and found out it's a hotel. The guy she kissed is from another country, so that could be a possibility. How could I find out? Well, I called the hotel, pretended to be a friend of the guy and asked if he was staying there. I gave his cell phone, from her Instagram, to see if it matched with the registry of the booking, and bingo. It was him. I didn't know what to think. Clearly the one-time thing was also a lie from her. This was strike two. A few hours ago I called her pretending everything was okay. I asked how was yesterday since she's coming back tomorrow and was going out with some friends, where they went, etc. She said it was okay, that they went to the bar, same one from the Uber ride, and then she went home. I know for a fact that she didn't from the Uber ride to the guy's hotel. This was strike three. Basically I'm kind of lost right now. Since I was the one who had cheated on her before, I always felt a bit guilty on our relationship and always saw her as someone who would never do that. She's a proud woman, so I doubt she's going to tell me what happened and admit guilt when she comes back. If I had to bet, I'd say she's just going to move on and hide it from me. Clearly she doesn't know I am a good detective and an even better stalker. Not proud of it, honestly. I guess I'm looking for some advice on what to do. Confront her? Call it even? If I do confront her, how am I going to tell her how I know of it all? I thought about creating a fake Instagram account and send a message to me pretending I'm a friend of the guy who knows what happened. But I'm afraid that it'd be even further than it is already gone. I want to hear your thoughts.